The Green Mile is a novel by Stephan King, originally published in serialized form in 1996. It is set in the 1930s and tells the story of Paul Edgecombe, a prison guard, and the events surrounding a death row inmate named John Coffey. The narrative unfolds in the Cold Mountain Penitentiary in Louisiana, where supernatural and mysterious events transpire. Here's a detailed overview of the storyline. 1. Introduction to Paul Edgecombe. The novel is framed by an elderly Paul Edgecombe writing his memoirs in a nursing home. He reflects on his time as a supervisor on death row, known as the Green Mile due to the color of the linoleum floor. Paul recalls a particularly extraordinary inmate, John Coffey, and the events that forever changed his perspective on life and death. 2. Arrival of John Coffey. The main narrative begins with the arrival of John Coffey, a massive and imposing African-American man convicted of the brutal rape and murder of 2 young girls. Despite his intimidating appearance, Coffey exhibits a childlike innocence and displays an inexplicable ability to heal living beings. He becomes the centerpiece of the novel's supernatural elements. 3. The healing powers. Paul and the other guards, including Brutus Brutal Howell and Dean Stanton, witness John Coffey's astonishing healing abilities. Coffey cures Paul's urinary infection and later performs a miraculous healing on the warden's wife, who is suffering from a brain tumor. These events create a sense of awe and mystery around Coffey, leading the guards to question his guilt and the nature of his powers. 4. The injustice of the legal system. As the story unfolds, it becomes clear that John Coffey is not the typical violent criminal. Despite his conviction, there are indications that he is innocent of the crimes he's accused of. The novel explores themes of racial injustice, as Coffey faces discrimination based on his race and is subjected to a legal system that fails to consider the complexity of his character. 5. The Mouse, Mr. Jingles. The supernatural elements of the story extend beyond John Coffey's healing abilities. A mouse named Mr. Jingles becomes a central figure, seemingly gaining immortality through Coffey's touch. Mr. Jingles becomes a symbol of the inexplicable forces at play on the Green Mile. 6. The executions. The guards on the Green Mile are tasked with carrying out executions, and the novel details several of them. Each execution takes a toll on the guards, especially Paul Edgecombe, who becomes increasingly troubled by the moral implications of the death penalty. These scenes contribute to the novel's exploration of justice, compassion, and the consequences of taking a life. 7. Coffey's revelation. As Paul Edgecombe becomes more convinced of Coffey's innocence and struggles with the ethical implications of executing an innocent man, Coffey reveals the truth about the crimes he's accused of. In a moment of profound revelation, Coffey shares his ability to absorb the pain and suffering of others, explaining that he took on the darkness of the world but is unable to save himself from the impending execution. 8. The true culprit. Coffey's revelation leads Paul and his fellow guards to investigate further, uncovering evidence that points to the true perpetrator of the crimes for which Coffey is to be executed. The novel takes a dramatic turn as the guards grapple with the realization that they are complicit in an unjust and tragic miscarriage of justice. 9. The execution and aftermath. Despite the guards' newfound knowledge, they are unable to prevent John Coffey's execution. The emotional impact of the event is profound, and it further transforms Paul Edgecombe's perspective on life, death, and the nature of humanity. The novel concludes with Paul's reflections on the lasting effects of the Green Mile and the enduring mysteries that continue to haunt him. 10. Themes of redemption and compassion. The Green Mile explores themes of redemption and compassion. Through the characters of John Coffey and Paul Edgecombe, the novel challenges preconceptions about guilt and innocence, justice, and the capacity for human kindness. The supernatural elements in the story serve as a backdrop to the deeper exploration of the human condition. In summary, Stephan King's The Green Mile is a powerful and emotionally charged novel that blends elements of the supernatural with a profound exploration of justice, compassion, and the consequences of one's actions. The characters, particularly John Coffey and Paul Edgecombe, undergo profound transformations, and the novel leaves readers with lingering questions about the nature of good and evil in the world.